It's July 26th. This is episode 4 of The Platformers. I'm Brian Barnett.
I'm Chris Schreiber.
And I'm Martin Galazzi.
And today we're going to be talking about a number of things, as usual. So let's start with what you guys played. Chris, what were you playing?
I finally got my TES Plus Mad Catz fight stick for PS4. And it's been a bit of a life-changing experience. I've never had a fight stick before. It's pretty exciting stuff. I found out you can customize them. Probably going to throw like a Shovel Knight decal on it, maybe some purple and blue buttons.
Nerd.
But I also on what day was that? I guess it was Saturday. It was the Alabama Shakes concert day. Yeah. Saturday.
Nobody cares about
I was streaming. Wow, we are not friends as of right now. It's fine.
Never heard of them.
So they're great. You should check them out. But I was doing the story mode in Street Fighter V.
Oh man, I watched that.
Yeah, that was a rough time. First of all, first time streaming ever. I'd never.
Congratulations.
Done that. So.
What I have to say is I think you did a decent job paying attention to chat, in that you were watching and responding to all of the ridiculous things that I was saying.
That was like almost exclusively what I was doing, like just waiting for people to type stuff in, and then the main reason I got the fight stick and everything in Street Fighter V was a bunch of the guys I hang out with here like in Philly are super into Street Fighter, and they've been like on my case about it. So I finally got it. But yeah, I was doing story mode, and holy crap. Well, so there's two different story modes in Street Fighter V, if you guys don't know. There's a character story, and then they just came out with like a official story mode with like cutscenes and stuff.
Okay.
I don't understand how anybody can like take this seriously or think that this is like any kind of compelling situation. It's just there's a whole lot of randomness going on, and I understand that they have to put them in these situations where they have to fight each other because it's a fighting game, but like Mortal Kombat does it so much better when it comes to the story. Like
it's just like a random.
Oh my god, it's all over the place.
It was like, really, really bad.
And like there's characters that just show up and you're like they don't tell you who they are.
Yep.
And like some of them have really weird animations. Like there's one I don't know any, like most of the characters' names, but I know she's new to Street Fighter V.
Okay.
I think she's
Brazilian character.
Yeah, she's Brazilian.
Laura.
Her brother shows up at one point in the story mode, and his hair. Everybody kept calling him Static Shock in the chat, but his hair just like kept moving like constantly, and like he would just be standing like idly, and his hair would just flow back and forth. It was really funny. But I mean, the game's super fun. I can't wait to just like have a day where all my buddies come over and we just play it, and they beat the crap out of me because they've been playing for months and I haven't.
And you're terrible, is what you're telling
me. Oh my
us.
god, I'm awful at this game. I'm so bad at it, but it's fun. And Jess and I were actually playing earlier today, and we were switching off between the fight stick. I thought she was gonna rip this freaking joystick off. Like she was like, and I was like, oh my god, be careful with that. Like she's like, what? I thought this is how you're supposed to use it. I was like, it's fine. It's just I know it's getting hurt. Yeah, but she seems like she enjoys it. I don't think she enjoys it as much as Marvel vs. Capcom, but it's fun. And
those
then the other
are
game,
fun, just name recognition.
What's that?
Those games, the Marvel vs. Capcom, you're just like, ooh,
oh my
it's this
god,
guy.
yeah.
You know, it's like,
and like everybody's in those games. Like,
yeah.
I really want them to make another one, but I'll be shocked if they ever do. Then the other game, when we turned on the PS4, we saw that there was a patch for Lego Star Wars. The Force Awakens, because every time we've tried to play it, the game would freeze, and then we'd have to restart the level. We only made it to like the third level, which is the first time that's ever happened to me with a Lego game.
That's strange.
So
have you played a lot of them?
We've played. God, I probably have like 10 of them on PS4. I think I have like everyone that's come out on PS4. Jess loves them. But yeah, I mean I didn't have any issues. So whatever the 2 gig patch worked. Or was for a Lego game, which I didn't even think was possible, worked.
It's like half the game.
Seriously.
I was about to say, how big are the games when you install them?
I mean, they're really high-res textures. Yeah. So we did the level on Naboo when you're in the Millennium Falcon. Spoilers if you have not seen Force Awakens.
I mean, that's not Naboo.
Or not Naboo. What am I saying?
Jakku?
Jakku.
Oh,
Duh.
my goodness. Oh, get
Spoilers
out
for
of
the-
here, Chris.
Spoilers for the wrong movie.
Yeah, get out of here. Spoiler alert, the first movie was terrible. Naboo is the only place there. It's over.
I don't know why I had Naboo on the brain.
Yeah, Chris, you know how you said we weren't friends earlier? We're definitely not friends. It's
Alabama Shakes are great. All right.
Nah, get out. Yeah, Alabama Shakes and Naboo. Get out of here.
Naboo's
Go hang out with some
trash.
Gungans, Chris.
You're gonna
They're
equate-
both garbage
you're gonna-
planets anyway. It's fine.
Well, God help you if you ever find the Naboo shakes,
Yeah.
because
Oh.
they're
Me
they're,
some
they're,
love.
Annie.
they're literally the worst. Those guys are terrible.
Is that what happened to what's his name?
Yeah, what's his name?
Watto? Isn't that his name?
Yeah, Watto's now the singer of a terrible band.
I have a new band I want you to listen to. It's really good. Here,
so
I know you know
bluesy.
some
It's
people on
chill.
Coruscant. Take my mixtape.
And he flies away with the
Come on,
shakes.
He's
I know if Mace hear it, he gonna want me on his label. Come on.
I
I know you
think
have
that's,
the ins I need.
that's real close to racist, there,
Wait.
Brian.
so
The only black guy in the entire Star Wars universe. He owns a record label.
He's the only guy that has any style. Come on,
sorry.
give me a break.
Racist.
Wait,
He's the
I
coolest
need
dude
to-
on the council.
I need to mention a quick story that
It's
Brian
Samuel
and I
L.
experienced
Jackson. Come on.
when we were in San Francisco for Kind of Funny Live 2.
All
Dude,
right.
The guy in the Uber who
Yes.
he picked us up. All right, I need to tell the story real quick. So
Okay, go for it.
we're in the Uber on the way back to Brian and I ended up. That's where we met. We ended up staying at the same hotel in San Francisco for Kind of Funny Live 2 back in
Different
May.
rooms, same hotel.
Different room, same hotel. I didn't even know who he was until
They just want you
This
to know
event.
that.
yeah.
No
So,
reason. Nothing's happened since. There's no gay marriage. That's
I don't
happened
have
that
any
I
feelings
attended.
for him. It's fine. If I
It's
did,
fine.
it wouldn't. There's nothing wrong with that.
It's legal now.
Not that there's
Legal.
anything wrong with
Not that
that.
there's anything wrong with that. And so we're on the way back to the hotel, and we grab this Uber, and this guy picks us up. We were in Chinatown. This guy picks us up, and he looked so old that like he was like settling into the seat or like into the earth. He looked like he was settling into himself. Like his skin
Part of
was
the
just like
part of the ship, part of the
so.
crew. Part of the ship, part of the crew.
Yeah, that's what he looked like. And
That's kind
So
of an
then-
obscure reference, maybe.
Marty, were
Oh,
you
that's
with
so
us?
good.
I can't.
So good.
No, I wasn't there.
Oh man. So yeah. So we're
Anyway,
in the car,
super
and this
old
guy,
Uber
yeah,
driver.
super old guy. We're on the way back, and he's talking about somebody was talking about music, and he brought this thing up where he was like, "Oh yeah, I used to work for this company. They were called Universal Records," and we were like looking around at each other, like, "Yeah, we know what that is."
Is he
may have
Ernie
heard of him?
from the whatever that show is? The,
Is he who?
Hello, my name is
Ernie.
Kermit the Frog, and I
Oh,
used
Ernie.
to work for
Kirby.
Sony Records. Have you heard of them?
His voice was so weird, but anyway.
Yeah. Okay.
So we're like, yeah, we know what Universal Records is. Like, they're kind of a big deal. So he's like, yeah, I went down to oh, it was because Brian mentioned that he was from Texas. And he was like, oh, I've been to Dallas once. I met this rapper. I don't know if you guys know him. His name's Cha Millionaire. Yeah, he picked me up in an 84 Cadillac, and we just went to strip clubs all day. And, like, this guy did not look like the kind of I mean, maybe to go into a strip club, but, like, did not look like the kind of person to be rolling with Cha Millionaire.
He looked like
First of all, Chris.
like okay, like if you're on a character creation screen and the default is Mr. Rogers, if you went like and went over a couple.
It's like if you combined Mr. Rogers and Grimer
Okay,
from
so
Pokemon.
it sounds like your voice is Ernie from Sesame Street,
Okay.
right? Well, it's Chameleonaire, not Cha Millionaire.
No, that's what
No,
he
no,
said,
but
though.
that's what he
So
said.
gangster.
He said
Okay.
Cha Millionaire.
Okay, so that's even
what
better.
made it even better. 'cause
So
we were
Ernie
like,
from Sesame Street is rolling with Cha Millionaire. It's a
Representing
Dallas strip
Universal
clubs.
Records.
Representing
No, not just some Dallas strip clubs, 21.
yeah, that's right. That's right.
all the Dallas strip club.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
that's what he
said
said.
that they went to every strip club in Dallas.
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing.
But
So
sorry.
that's the rap game, I guess.
Yeah.
In the mid 2000s. Ernie and Cha Millionaire.
Well, let's just put it this way. He made enough money signing Cha Millionaire to move from Dallas to
SF.
San Francisco or wherever he was.
The most
And now
expensive
he's driving
city
an Uber.
freaking world.
Around.
I know he's driving Uber. Although I will say, I talked to a couple of Uber drivers up there and some down here who are very pleased with their compensation.
Really?
So apparently, not a bad deal.
Not a bad
Not
deal.
like
Interesting.
not what you might presume. If you know anything about cabbies or anything like that.
Right.
Yeah, just getting terrible wages and begging for tips.
Yeah.
So Marty, what have you been up to?
I've been playing WoW. It's a problem. Let's jump back into video games, all right? So, World of Warcraft put out their pre-patch. Me and Brian been experimenting with that WoW game again. What do you think,
While
Brian?
I was sick, it's pretty much all I did to distract myself from the fact that I was hacking up a lung
That you were dying?
and trying not to die.
Bunch of nerds in here.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Go play
PC
some Lego
nerds,
Star
for
Wars
real.
games. Chris.
Hey, it's fine.
Yeah, for real, dude. If you're gonna freaking if you're gonna step up and bring your so-called A game, talking about freaking not only a Lego game, but a Lego game that's also about Star Wars.
They're for
Hey.
ages 5 and up, okay? 5 and up.
You're up. I mean, technically, you're up. You're good.
You are up. You are up.
But,
Yes.
Brian, once again, let's not talk shit on Star Wars. Let's get real here. That is not the
Yes.
nerdy part of the Lego game, okay? The nerdy
Indeed,
part
it
is
isn't.
he said freaking Naboo instead of Jakku. That's the nerdy part, and he should get out of here for that.
Yeah, whatever. All right, so I'm not gonna fault you for that.
I'm going to hold
But-
it against you for the rest of your life.
That's fine. Like water off of a duck's back. So I played WoW for about a week. For those of you who have been living under a rock since around like
2004?
2001.
Nah, 2004.
No, I'm saying, but they would have had to been living under there since even before the
then.
game came
Yeah,
out.
gotcha.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
For those of you who have been in hiding, World of Warcraft is a game by Blizzard, now Activision Blizzard, which is a borderline apocalyptic, joining of two powers.
Yeah. They are video games.
Yeah, it is when it first came out, it was kind of perceived as being like a weird shift because the game that it is ostensibly a sequel to is Warcraft 3, which is a top-down isometric strategy game. About base
Real-time
building
strategy.
and things like that. Yeah, and World of Warcraft is a massive online role-playing game where you don't control a society of people, you just control one person. So it's a really fantastic game. I've played it. One of my buddies helped make it. And so I've been in since pretty much day one, but I stopped playing after the Wrath of the Lich King expansion. And I
About
played a little bit-
2009.
Yeah, I played a little bit of Cataclysm, but then was out for most of it, and then all of Mists of Pandaria. The current expansion is Warlords of Draenor, but the next expansion called Legion is about to come out. So what they did, and this is something that a lot of like online games that have a lot of players will do, is before a major update that will get a bunch of people online, they'll roll out some of the updates ahead of time so they can kind of bug test them in a live environment. And a live environment is, they all test and do quality assurance or QA in-house, like on their own servers and with people that work for the company. But since you have so many more people playing the game than you have in your QA department, you're always going to find more problems once it goes, quote, live. So they push a lot of these things out earlier before release so that they can kind of work through all the bugs before Legion actually comes out.
And usually Blizzard is amazing at that. They have an alpha period of friends and family where they give the codes to a larger pool of people than just in-house. And then they'll do betas, they'll do beta weekends, stress beta testing. With like games like Overwatch, which is also a Blizzard property, they did like a large beta cycle, and obviously it's a little more intense with a first-person shooter, but with an MMO, they definitely go through and test every single class and role. They go through and do passes, right? So they fix anything, and they've been super on top of that. And
it's one of the things that Blizzard games are best known for, is being really, really polished and not having bugs.
Yeah.
And to that end, they've done really well. But the most important thing is they changed the way that all of the classes work and a lot of the basic gameplay works. I mean, your attacks and things are still the same, but they've streamlined a lot of it. A lot of the, for example, I play a Warlock and a Death Knight, and they had a ton of abilities, too many abilities. And so they got rid of a lot of the abilities and talents that were kind of superfluous or were just based around like a flat damage increase, because they don't consider that stuff interesting. So basically they'll make the talents like, okay, choose between this ability that like absorbs a lot of health from an enemy, or this ability where you can stun somebody for a period of time, or this ability where now you can have 2 pets instead of just 1. So they revamped all the talents to make them a lot more interesting. But I think one of the biggest changes, if we're not talking about something character specific, is the fact that now you can freely switch between any of the specializations at any time. And you can do it as many times as you want.
Not true.
Yeah.
Only in rest zones.
No, you can switch your specialization anytime.
your
You can't switch
complete
your
spec.
talents.
Okay.
Yeah, you can't switch your
You
talents.
were
unless
able
you're
to
in
do
rest.
that even last X-Pack. But
Oh, were you?
yes. So what they did is they reduced.
Well, they got rid of glyphs.
Yeah.
So
They reduced the difficulty that it is for you to decide to play another class or another specialization. Right. Each class has usually 3 specializations: DPS, tank, and healer. DPS just meaning damage dealer. Obviously, there's certain classes that have more than one of each type, so they might have 2 DPS and a heal. Regardless, whatever.
Yeah, Warlock has 3 DPS specs.
Yeah.
They can't tank or heal.
Exactly.
Which is fine because they're awesome anyway.
They are pretty cool. So they reduced, I think, just the overhead of being like, oh, well, I really want to try this new spec. I want to get down and see what it's going to be like. So they removed the cost that it was to change talents, and they removed glyphs, so you don't have to go out and buy more things. But you still have to worry about stat priority between the different classes.
So just to quickly summarize, glyphs were a previous system where you would basically buy these pieces of paper and then you would learn them, and then they would allow you to, for a price, enhance certain abilities. So they were basically like talents, but in kind of another way. So like you would have your specialization, which would allow you to fulfill a certain role in a group content setting, like the tank DPS healer thing. Then you would have your talents, which affect the way that you can carry out that role, and then you would have glyphs that enhance specific abilities even further.
The game was getting...
And they just kind of...
Go ahead,
I was just going to say, they kind of simplified and streamlined the whole process and made everything a whole lot easier, as well as incorporating certain community-made mods into the game. So like now you can... anytime you pick up a quest, it'll automatically show you on the map where you're supposed to go. That was done a while ago, I think.
Yeah, it was.
But then the one thing that I noticed was when you start fighting somebody up close, right underneath where your character is, and this is a third-person game, so your character is on screen and you can see them. Underneath where they are, it'll show your health bar and all your resources, which is easier to look to in the middle of a fight than all the way to the upper left-hand corner of the screen where it normally is.
Yeah, so they've the game was very convoluted at a point. They've been item squishing a lot of the lately, so they've reduced the health, mana, like resources, so you don't see these giant numbers that are really hard to do the math on. They've really calmed that down. They've made everything just a little more accessible, which I think is the best thing they could have done. They've, like you said, lessened glyphs, made it so you don't have to worry about... Pretty much, it now feels less like you have to do these 5 things to optimize your character like than ever before. So the game was getting extremely cookie cutter to where like if you don't have these talents and these glyphs, and you're not using these spells in this order, you're trash and you're not going to go anywhere. And now I definitely feel like there's a lot more viability in the talent tree, to where like there's not really cookie cutter. It's how are you going to play the most effectively with your play style. And there's still obviously going to be like an optimal way to play. That's just inevitable. I mean, that's just numbers, right? One number is always going to be higher than the other. Making those completely balanced is near impossible, if not impossible, honestly. People are just going to play the game differently and break the game.
Well, and everything's going to be situational now instead of
Exactly.
just flat being better.
Yeah. So that's definitely what I'm excited for. I hope, I haven't seen this yet, but I hope in raids they allow you to change your talents more, like they are right now, because I think that's going to be huge, being able to be like, oh, this fight needs me to take this and this, and I think that will feel better than it has. We'll see. All I can say is I'm very excited for Legion to come out. It comes out on the 30th of August, and I think it's going to be a much-needed shot of just adrenaline into the WoW system. It's been kind of stagnant with Warlords. The game was amazing, and always has been, but it just gets kind of the same. It gets samey quickly, and it sounds silly, but if they reduce the number of things you're doing and allow you to get better at those things, I think it's going to feel less samey because they can throw more at you. You're going to be more prepared to take things. It's perfect, like, when you look at first-person shooters and where that space is right now. You have Call of Duty and Halo. I mean, those games are the definition of samey, right? Like, you have, even in Overwatch, you have 3 abilities. In Call of Duty, you have a grenade and a knife and a gun. Like, and those games have so much replayability, it's not even funny. So
And
I
the
think
reason for that is because, in my opinion, is because when everybody's working from a more limited pool of things that they can do, it becomes more of a skill game.
Yeah.
Than it does just being able to manage resources and things like that.
My class is better than
becomes-
yours on paper, so therefore I win, kind of thing. I think that's been a huge problem.
Yeah. So I feel like they've really balanced things out. But anyway, not to spend too much more time on, the technical aspects of it. Basically, I've been playing it with, with my friends. I was playing it with Josh and Nicole, and my buddy Randy, and we were just running around, killing monsters together, having a good time. So I've just been really enjoying that, and I'm also looking forward to Legion. I already bought it.
Yep.
So we'll have to play some together.
Absolutely.
So, what next?
I mean, what's been going on in the world of, video games? Christopher?
Yeah,
Well, as a matter of fact, gentlemen, this morning I awoke to a piece of news on the Twitters, as I often do.
the Twitterverse.
On the Twitterverse. And some news came out about Nintendo's next console, the NX. Previously all we really known about this thing is that it was rumored to be this portable device that hooked up to your TV, and nobody really knew how that was going to work. And then there were rumors saying it's going to be more powerful than a PS4, and
which I was like, yes.
Yeah,
Finally, Nintendo's taking a step into the future.
right. Well, and Colin Moriarty actually brought this up a couple weeks ago on Kind of Funny Games, where you better hope that this thing is more powerful than a PS4, because the PS4 came out in 2013, right?
Yeah.
So
3 years ago.
2.5-year-old hardware. So lo and behold, this news came out, and it was a leak. I'm not sure where the source of the leak is
Eurogamer.
from. Was it Eurogamer? Okay,
Yep.
that's actually the site I'm on.
Well, there you go.
So they have.
And let's just say before we go into this that this is corroborated by several trustworthy sources, but it is not confirmed, and Nintendo has not commented on it yet.
And the
nor
trustworthy
will
sources. Yeah, no, there's no way. The trustworthy sources are actually kind of a point of contention right now. In media, right? People are all over reporting on this story, but I guess Eurogamers kind of had some false flags before, and people are wondering if they're getting kind of taken advantage of, because the leaks that you're about to talk about don't seem very I don't know. Let's just talk about it. We'll figure it out. As we
So
go.
I'm just going to kind of skim through the article here. Again, the article, if you want to find it, it's on Eurogamer.net. The title is Nintendo NX is a portable console with detachable controllers. And then subtitle. It also connects to your TV and runs cartridges. So that in and of itself is a bit of a red flag. But anyway, or more just an interesting thing.
Yep.
All right. Tom Phillips. Nintendo's upcoming NX will be a portable handheld console with detachable controllers. A number of sources have confirmed to Eurogamer. Now, there's an image here on the site, top of the page, where it looks like it's just a standalone display, kind of akin to an iPad, and has a little stand built into it. To the left and right are two controllers that kind of resemble the Wiimote.
It looks exactly like a Wii U gamepad.
Yeah. Well,
To me, it looks very similar to the bottom screen of a 3DS.
I was
Yeah, if you just
took the top one
yeah.
off.
I would go with that. Razer actually makes maybe it is the Ripsaw. No,
The Shield?
no. Razer made a.
No, that's NVIDIA.
Oh, you're right. Sorry.
Excuse me. A tablet that ran Windows 8. Let me just see if I can find a gaming tablet. That the Razer Edge Pro gaming tablet, and it looks. I'm gonna send this to you guys. It looks really
very
similar. It kind of when I saw this, it kind of blew my mind, like how close to this it actually was. I'm just throwing this in the Skype chat now.
A little bit of looking behind the curtain.
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, I mean that thing, again, joysticks on the left and right. These aren't detachable, but it is connected to a screen.
Yeah,
Interesting.
it looks very similar.
Yeah, but I thought that was kind of interesting.
The only difference is that this thing is being depicted as playing Crisis, and I guarantee you will not be able to play that on the NX.
Right. Yeah. So here, let's go a little bit further into this article here. On the move, Nintendo NX will function as a high-powered handheld console with its own display. So far, so normal. But here's the twist. We've heard the screen is bookended by two controller sections on either side, which can be attached or detached as required. Then when you get home, the system can connect to your TV for gaming on the big screen. A base unit or dock station is used to connect the brain of the NX within the controller to display on your TV. Let's see. There's rumors that this is going to be using NVIDIA's Tegra mobile processor, which can be found in. I don't think it'll be the same version, 'cause at this point it's slightly old, but in the NVIDIA Shield tablets, and the
Google's
it's-
Pixel.
Google's
and
Pixel.
other Android devices.
Right.
Yeah.
So again, kind of aligning with the rumors that we had heard probably about a year ago at this point, where this
Yeah.
thing was possibly going to be an Android-powered device, things along that nature. Let's see. Considering NX's basis a handheld first and foremost, the choice may not come as too much of a surprise, although we've heard the suggestion Nintendo recommends a 32-gigabyte cartridge, which is small when considering the size of many modern games. Typically, games nowadays come on a Blu-ray disc, and Blu-rays can be anywhere from, I think now they're up to like 120 gigs. Not that many games are hitting that, but they're pretty huge.
I think it's a double layer Blu-ray. Is that right?
Yeah, double layer. Yeah,
A
because Blu-ray, I
standard-
think.
standard Blu-ray is 50 gigs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see.
That's my biggest red flag right there is the Tegra.
The Tegra processor.
I don't understand why Nintendo would make the same mistake. Like, they need a
The
console
same mistake
that can
as what?
compete. As the Wii U.
As far
and
as
the
being
Wii, they're
underpowered?
all underpowered consoles, and I get like Nintendo's shtick, right? But when you look at like Star Fox, that game looks terrible.
That game. Well, yeah. That game is all. But you also have to consider that game was built. That game is a Wii game that they then. That game was a Wii prototype actually. So they actually built that game to see every Nintendo console. They always build a Star Fox game to just see what the system can do. How powerful and how far they can push it.
Because let me tell you, nothing pushes processing power, GPUs and CPUs
Right.
like freaking Star Fox.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I totally agree. But this is their development cycle. That's why, like, if you look at Ocarina of Time, there's all that code, like in the Z targeting. There's code where, it's the same code that they use for the R-Wing. in Star Fox 64.
You know, it's funny that you mentioned that because if you pull up a picture of Link and Link's face, it looks actually very, very close to an Arwing. You know his nose and
Very
everything is
pointy
going
nose.
back. I'm pretty
The
sure they
green
use the
tunic.
same model.
Yeah.
I don't. Okay.
Lazy devs using the same assets for Link's head as they do for the Arwing. It's it's just Nintendo. I thought
You had more
I
faith.
thought you loved
right?
me, right?
Yeah.
I thought you wouldn't do me like this. And then you do these things like
Going
this.
back to Star Fox being a Wii prototype, right? There are 360 games that look far better than Star Fox on Wii U.
So
I'm just saying.
No, I'm
like-
not disagreeing with you.
Oh,
But
yeah.
you also have to remember that I remember playing the first Gears of War on Xbox 360 the day my brother walked in with a Wii.
Oh yeah, that's just
Like
that's hard.
It's
That's hard to-
it's a critically underpowered system. They have
Yeah,
to,
and why would they
Since
do
the
that?
Wii.
Why would they do that again and again? Like they have every okay, so this is kind of more news. The Xbox One is at a price cut right now for $250.
Right.
That is unbelievably low, right?
Yeah.
So you have a console that's
half the
200
price that it debuted at.
It did used to come with a bigger hard drive and a Kinect.
what's the hard
but-
drive in it now?
I think it's $250 and it comes with a 500.
Oh wow. That's big.
Yeah, but still,
That's really
it's still $250.
Right.
Like that is bare bones price point for a console that can run Halo. For this console that can run these AAA huge games. And now you're looking at this NX console. Unless this console costs $150, like what are they going for?
Right.
And there were rumors of the cloud processing where they're going to stack processing power on inactive, whatever you want to call them, NXs.
Hold on, Marty.
Yeah.
You're saying that they're talking about cloud computing power for Nintendo's new console.
That's why I always knew that rumor was so fake. Like, there's no
Because-
way.
okay,
There's
okay,
no
okay.
way that's true. That can't be true.
But hold on a sec. There is literally one of the console manufacturers that could actually pull that off and is pulling it off and has done it on games that came out this generation, and that is Microsoft. Because Microsoft is the only company that understands
What game did cloud
how to
computing?
work. Titanfall has used it.
Oh yeah, that was built on Azure.
The new
I forgot
Crackdown
about
is
that.
using it.
You're right.
Yeah, the
They're-
Crackdown
I
forgot about that.
is heavily touted as using the cloud. I mean, that is
They're
kind of makes sense.
They
right?
are the
Microsoft
only ones
is,
that can use it. Sony, I don't trust them to be able to do that sort of thing. And Nintendo, I certainly don't, because they don't even know how to get games online and do multiplayer properly.
Yeah, it's very, very scary. So I do not understand in any way why they are giving us a Tegra-powered console that's going to maybe use cloud. Who knows? Maybe they're going to blow us out of the water, but I don't want to play my phone games on my console on my TV. This is like that Ouya. You guys remember that?
Yeah.
Like with Nintendo
Yeah, and then
games.
the only good game that was exclusive to Ouya ended up coming to PS4, and it was awesome.
What was that?
And it was Towerfall Ascension, which is a fantastic game.
That was an
And it's
Ouya
not-
game?
And it was the Ouya exclusive game that everybody was like, this is the game. You got to buy an Ouya. You got to play this game. This game is awesome.
I did
That
not
game
know
is
that.
awesome.
Dude, I love that game.
That game is awesome. It's now on PS4 and it's now on Vita.
It's on
So that
Steam,
should tell
too.
you. That should tell you everything you need to know. Oh, I didn't know that. I'm gonna have to pick
Oh
that
yeah,
up.
that's on Steam. Anyway,
But
so
let me. Is there anything quick that we need to? Anything else?
well, I
we
mean,
need to know about this
there's more
Christmas?
information in here, but we can keep going, and then I can.
Well, let's run through this real quick, and then I wanna rebut what Marty was saying.
All right. Let's see. Finally, we've heard from one source that NX planning has recently moved up a gear within Nintendo ahead of the console's unveiling, which is currently slated for September. Some people are saying Tokyo Game Show. It could be
Which would make sense.
revealed then.
You'd have to assume, yeah.
Yeah. I would think they would do a direct, the week after, or I don't know, maybe during that week.
Probably,
Yeah, and you're thinking they'll do a Nintendo Direct. You don't. Oh, wait. Do you think they're gonna do it TGS, or do you think that they're gonna do a Direct?
No, they'll do a direct, but I think they may drop it during TGS.
Yeah, a
like
direct
at the
from
end, at the
TGS.
tail end of it, or
They're not gonna. No, they're not gonna do a Direct.
why not?
for
They did
this.
that. They do it with E3 every year, except for this year. But
But here's the if they don't do, oh my god,
it's Nintendo.
If
They
don't-
want to be in control of their marketing. Like,
But it doesn't matter because if they bring in only the faithful, it's gonna sell like the Wii U sold. If they have to bring it, they have to put it out there like they did with Pokemon Go. We've looked at the numbers.
So
They
that's a huge
have
story
to-
too. Do you know how much Nintendo's involvement with Pokemon Go was? Almost zero.
a big fat zero.
Oh, yeah.
They
I've
did
been saying
not.
this the whole time. It's Niantic and the Pokemon.
Yeah,
company.
well,
Yeah.
I mean, your
The-
example right there was like Nintendo did with
I gotta look this
Pokemon
up.
Go, but they didn't. Like Nintendo did nothing with Pokemon Go, and like you're saying like you hope they learn.
Well,
from
it's
their
also
mistakes.
not. It doesn't have the polish that a Nintendo game would have.
You're absolutely right
Yeah.
there, but they're giving us a Tegra powered console. Like, what do you want from them if they're doing this? Obviously, it's all rumors and it's all with a grain of salt, but I don't see where they're gonna go. You know?
So what you're saying is it's too weak to come out with a console now that has this level of power.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Like my
So-
cell phone is going to be on par with this. It
In
just
a
has more
year,
controllers.
like
yeah.
it,
So let me counter and just say this. They've confirmed that both of you gentlemen have seen the previews and Let's Plays for Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, correct?
right.
Yep.
Okay. They have confirmed that this game will be coming to Wii U and also the NX.
Yep.
If Nintendo can make a handheld console that I can take on the go that will run that game,
I love where this is going.
I don't care what the processor is called because that is awesome. It is an open world Skyrim-esque Legend of Zelda game that got me interested in Legend of Zelda again. So
It looks cool. Sorry, finish this.
and not only that, but if we look at the moves that Nintendo has made, look at the Wii. All right, I hated the Wii. I thought the Wii sucked.
Everyone hated the Wii.
Motion controls suck. Not everybody hated the Wii.
Yeah.
Your
So
mom
many people
didn't hate
bought
the
it.
Wii.
many
Everyone
people-
else.
Gamers hated the Wii.
Yeah.
So, well, not apparently. I mean, there were some people. There were
Well,
some
no, like I
people that
love
really
games
enjoyed
on the
it.
Wii, but
Like 3 games, and like everyone had a Wii, and that thing went dusty quick. Your mom thought it was cool because she played Wii Bowling. That's why it sold 151 million
Okay,
units, and that's it. Like,
it did. But so I hated the Wii. Right. I love some of the games on Wii U. We've talked about this.
yep.
Mario 3D World, awesome. Mario Kart 8, awesome. Super Smash Brothers Wii U, awesome. Like all of these games, really, really good. They remastered Wind Waker, which is one of my favorite Zelda games. It looks freaking unreal on the Wii U. The Wii U as a hardware sucks.
Yeah.
Right? Let me tell you what doesn't suck. The Game Boy. The Game Boy Color, the Game Boy Advance, the Game Boy Advance SP, the DS,
So here-
and the 3DS.
All right,
Okay.
I see where you're going with this.
Their handheld game is strong,
It is.
and
It is.
sales have shown that. And let me tell you this: look at the exclusive games that were on Wii U. All right, I basically just named them, along with maybe Wonderful 101, the Star Fox game, Star Fox Zero, a couple, whatever. Look at the exclusive games
Splatoon, man.
to the 3D. I never played Splatoon. It didn't really speak to me.
You're like, it
Look
doesn't
at-
matter.
Look at the
No,
exclusive
Splatoon's great.
games to the 3DS. No, it's fine. It's fine if it's great. My point is, we get the Pokemon games on there. We get Mario 3D Land. We get Smash Brothers. We get Fire Emblem. We get Professor Layton. We get
Well, you don't get Professor Layton.
a wide. I look like Professor
No,
Layton.
you don't get Professor Layton. They're done making them.
Well, okay,
I'm just being a smart
whatever.
aleck.
Like,
That's fine.
just like look at the number of games that were exclusive to the handhelds. You get really cool stuff like 999. You get your Box Boys.
I
You
get
your
your point.
Azure Striker Gunvolts.
Yeah, you
It's
get
getting
good, weird,
It's
interesting
getting
games.
more. It's getting more, and in my opinion, better games. And not only is that what's going on, but you can also stick this in your back pocket or in your backpack and go and play them anywhere.
If I may.
So if Nintendo is gonna give this
You may
level,
not.
if Nintendo is gonna give this level of support to it, because if this is what it is, then the portable console now is the same as the portable console has always been, but it's going to be combined. So now not only are we going to be getting all of those cool handheld games like the Pokemon games and the Animal Crossings, the Mario Golfs, the Mario Karts, we're going to be getting those, and we're also going to be getting the big
Zelda.
Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wilds. We're going to be getting your Star Foxes. We're going to be getting all that stuff. If that's all on one console, I think Nintendo could actually do something really cool.
So
Let's
I
hear it,
agree
Chris.
with you in a certain. I agree with you in a certain light. But let me
hold on. Let me shut down everything that you just said with one word.
No, PlayStation Vita. All right, let's look at that. Hold on. Let's go with your argument. Let's go with your argument and say that they have this great lineup of games. I'm not dismantling that. I have a new 3DS XL in my bedroom. I've got a 3DS XL Pikachu edition in my cabinet. Jess has a 3DS. We love that system. Don't get me wrong. Haven't played much in it lately, but that's fine. Let's look at the launch lineup for PlayStation Vita, December 22nd, 2011, when everyone 2011, when everyone was under the impression that Vita was going to be the thing that took off
Destroyed
until the
everything.
proprietary cards came out. I'm just going to pick out the notable ones. Mod Nation Racers, Super Stardust Delta, Uncharted, Gravity Rush, MLB The Show, Unit 13, Blaze Blue,
Awesome game.
FIFA, Dynasty Warriors, Plants vs. Zombies, Rayman Origins, Ultimate Marvel
those are
vs.
good games.
Capcom 3, Virtua Tennis 4, Touch My Katamari, Lego Harry Potter, Ninja Gaiden Sigma Plus, Ridge Racer, Silent Hill,
Ridge Racer.
Disgaea
I
3.
can't
Ridge
not say that.
Racer.
Disgaea 3, good game, not nearly as good as 4 or 5.
So
Or
you
1 or
have to
2.
consider that this launch lineup was solid. Like,
Oh, yeah.
Amazing.
if you looked at that and said, that should have been a reason enough to get that thing. So
Yeah. And then later, it got things like Fez and Bastion and
Hitman Go.
and all that.
and I'm not
Hitman Go.
I'm not trying to turn this into a Vita thing. What I'm trying to
No, it's
say
fine.
is that the Vita
This is the
got-
platformers. We talk about all kinds
I
of
know.
game consoles.
The Vita got all the love in the world, and the only thing that made me think of it is when you had said they're gonna come out with this thing, and it's gonna be super powerful, and it's
Yep.
gonna be able to run all the stuff you want it to run.
I did not say that. I
Well,
did
for a
not say
handheld,
that.
no, for a handheld,
said-
that's what it is.
I said if.
Right.
But I'm only saying it because they've said that Breath of the Wild is going to be an NX game.
Right.
So what my question is when they demoed it, were we seeing it on Wii U? Were we seeing it on NX? We were seeing it on Wii U. Are they dumbing it down for NX? I certainly hope not. But if they are, that's going to be a real bad look.
So I would almost
so they
think
can't.
They can and they will.
They can and they will. So
If it
Go
looks
ahead,
worse
Marty.
on NX, they are shooting themselves not in the foot, right in the mouth.
Yeah,
they're just
that's
putting the
find an
shot
article
down.
while you guys
like
argue.
this. Okay, just like my cursory knowledge of video game anything, right? Judging on these rumors, which if they're as substantiated as they are, right, they're going to be. This console, if that's what we're going to call it, will not run Breath of the Wild, and Breath of the Wild looks like a 360 game. It really does. It's super stylized and it's pretty, but you run up to a rock wall and it looks like a rock wall texture. It literally
Yeah.
looks like a pasted texture, which is fine. Like that, I get that Zelda has that motif, but you're gonna be
And I think that I think that games like that, they hold up way more when you do things like
That's
that.
fine.
Wind Waker still looks good, so I applaud developers for going in that direction because it's a play for longevity instead of just being a flash in the pan in realism.
That's fine, but I'm just saying, if the game looks that bad where it is, not that bad, whatever, like you said, that's fine. But you look at the way that game is running already is kind of okay, they're not rendering everything. They're not. it's not a Skyrim type experience because when you load into Skyrim, it's beautiful, and that game came out in 2011. Like, you see vistas and lighting and everything, and that's not what Zelda is. But
Maybe on PC it still looks good, but
even
you
on
if you're playing
360
it on
it looks
PS3
okay.
or 360.
it looks as good as Zelda, which is a game that's
It's
coming
alright.
out 5 years later. You know, but my biggest thing is like that game is going to have insane pop-in on NX if this is the specs. It's going to run probably pretty jaggy and framey. It's probably going to run at like 24 frames. Like it's just, I think, a way for them to be like, look, Zelda's on NX, but it's not going to be where you want to play the game unless this docking station adds more power to the console. But
It won't.
You don't think it will?
I don't think so. None
No.
of the reports
No,
are
not
saying
a
it
chance.
will. None of the
It's
reports
a
are saying it
docking
will.
station.
That doesn't
that's-
matter.
It's gonna
you
be-
could
it's
easily
gonna be
do
pass
that.
through.
You could easily do that.
You could, but then you're running.
I'm not saying one way or
making-
the other. I'm just
Yeah.
saying.
There's
You're
going to be a
making-
proprietary plug where it will go from the docking station into the console, and then that will translate that into HDMI out to go to the TV. That's all it's going to be.
So the reason
I'm with you there, Brian. But
the reason I
they
say
could.
that is because I was reading. I can't find the article now, but I was reading an article earlier that they were talking about the Tegra 1 processor and a mobile processor. Sorry, and they were saying that on the Shield, I think it's the Shield tablet, and then whatever the Shield TV thing is, it can run Doom 3 BFG edition at, I think it was like 30 frames a second at 720p. So I have to be able to believe. I'm not saying this thing's going to be able to support 4K. It can't. Especially if these are the specs, it cannot do that. The stuff we have now can't even do that unless you have a
Well, are there-
high-end PC.
My big question is, do we know that there is only one iteration of this particular chip, or are there?
Yeah, it's
could
a
they
Tegra
potentially be coming out
X1.
with a new version? Of
I
it?
would hope that they're coming out with a new version, like a new family, almost like how Intel does. Like now they have Skylake.
If they're jumping from to
Well,
Pascal,
because even
right.
like you look at the Xbox One and the PS4, they're both using Jaguars, but they're not the same ones that would be in a PC. They're proprietary for that specific system.
Yeah.
So you'd have to think that they would have some sort of a Nintendo version of that chip that would run a little bit differently and process a little bit differently.
maybe, like
mean,
the 360
and
did,
this
and I
is
know
all-
the PS3 did, but like that was a cell processor. That was like way far away from x86 processing, way away from computer
Yeah.
processing, and now
Yeah.
like that's why it's so easy to make ports for the PlayStation, the Xbox, and PC. They're all running on the same architecture. If they're first
Which
of all,
I think is
Nintendo-
the strongest move that they all made. I think it's a
Absolutely.
really good move.
yeah, Microsoft's been doing it since day one.
Yeah.
With Nintendo, right? They already don't care, obviously, about third party. Okay, so now they're literally making their whole system an Android operating system, which is going to make developers shy away. That's a big thing, in my opinion.
Well, unless they're already developing Android stuff, which is going to probably draw a lot of
Mobile developers?
Wii-style shovelware.
Well,
it's
no,
going to draw mobile developers.
Well,
and
no.
that's it.
Hold on. This because part of this article said another source said the system would run on a new operating system from Nintendo. It won't,
Yeah.
contrary to some earlier rumors, simply run on Android.
Yeah. I assumed that.
I guess we just need to wait.
Yeah.
I really, because like I read two articles, one from Ars Technica and one from Kotaku, and they both cited Android operating systems.
I don't
So,
think. I honestly
know.
don't think anybody even knows. I mean, they
Yeah.
don't. Most of this is rumor.
They don't.
Anyway.
The big
I
thing
mean,
about
some
Tegra
people
running
certainly
BFG
know.
Well, yeah, right. There's a few Japanese people. They
There's
know.
a lot of people that know.
The,
Well, no,
the
it's
BFG
just, but
edition.
you know what
yeah.
I mean.
Yes.
So you were saying BFG running at Doom 3 BFG running at 720 at 30 frames.
Right.
The
That is a
spookiest of the
game-
Doom games.
Very true, because you couldn't hold a flashlight and a gun. That game came out in 2012, and it's running at 720p
Man,
at
that
30
recently,
frames
huh?
a second. I mean, the Doom 3 came out in 2004.
Yeah.
Okay, I was
So
about
it's
to
a
say, that
remake
feels-
of a
that feels-
game
Just
from
a
12 years
re-release.
ago.
Yes.
Okay.
So
I was about to say, man, that felt
And-
like so much longer
Yeah.
than that.
and it's only running on 720p. So now I slap my little NX into my, little docking station. I throw it up on my big screen, and what does that look like?
Garbage.
Garbage. Like, I don't even understand why give us a docking station. Just have it be a handheld. Like, I don't understand where, at least with this rumor, we have to emphasize that, at least with this rumor, where this platform is going to stand. Like, it's going to
if this turns out to be true.
yeah, like, it's just a not as cool DS, in my opinion. 3DS.
That's why,
it doesn't do 3D, and it doesn't flip open. Like, it's just a big tablet that it's going to be awkward as hell carrying around on the bus.
Let's just say, for me personally, the 3D on the 3DS didn't really do anything for me.
That's fine.
The only game that it was even any good in was Mario 3D Land, in which it was actually quite helpful on some of those difficult
Some of them you had
platform
to do it.
sections. But other than that, I mean, I played with it off completely.
I feel you.
But
I
Marty-
mean, still, though. Go ahead, Chris.
No, sorry. Back to what you were saying. Like, that's why I almost have to be able to believe that there's got to be some kind of, if this thing actually has this chip in it, I would hope that there is some kind of processing in this dock that's happening. And I only say that because I can totally believe that this thing's going to have a screen that is 720p because it's small enough you're not really going to notice. It's not going to be that big of a deal. You know, they can mass produce that. They already have said they're not going to sell this thing at a loss. The yen is not as strong as it was back when they manufactured the Wii U.
So my question is, do you think, and I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, that's fine.
Although I did. Do you think that they're going to be able to avoid having some serious performance issues when it is in portable mode if they have that sort of a setup? Because
Absolutely.
I don't see
absolutely.
I don't. From what we know of, how many Nintendo is like Blizzard. They QA the ever-living heck out of all of their games to make sure that they run smoothly and that sort of thing. How many Nintendo first-party games do we know, or even third-party games that they allowed to release on their platforms that like chugged?
I mean,
it's very
like, they may
few,
look
but
bad. They may look bad, but do they perform?
that's what I'm trying to
poorly?
say is that I think if this thing, you know, I'm just going to assume it's running at 720p. We haven't confirmed that, but whatever. I would think that you're going to have like almost like a low-end PC version. Like let's equate it to PC. So you're going to have the Ultra version, right? That's going to run when it's plugged into this dock. And then you're going to have a very low-end PC version that's going to run when it's in tablet mode. I'm just assuming that because I cannot wrap my head around this company that knows that they need to change things and that everybody is screaming at them saying, you know, make something in 1080p. They finally have. The Wii U can run in 1080p. The games look beautiful on it. Like, why would they take that far of a step back? I really just can't wrap my head around that.
So,
And I don't. Some of the most gorgeous games like Mario Kart 8, I don't even think are running at 1080p. Are they?
I don't know.
I thought I
check.
heard that they were not.
So, regardless of resolution, I just want to say this, right? Like, I'm holding up my phone right now, my Samsung. Like, it's a 2K screen.
Yeah.
Like, most cell phones right now would be mind-blowing to run at 720, right? And then cell phones are, I mean, from the drawings we have, going to be a lot smaller than this tablet-like device. So, personally, I would never, like, I want to buy a new Nintendo. Don't get me wrong, I really want to. But, like, I would never buy this device that's running at 720p in
you're right.
2016. Like, my phone is more powerful, right?
Brian is right that it runs at 720p.
Okay,
just to throw
there
that
you
out
go.
there.
So, like,
And it's a gorgeous game.
Yeah.
Mario Kart 8,
Yeah.
is it gorgeous or is it just stylized? Which is very similar.
They go together.
Yeah, but
And
it's not like going to be a very mechanically forward game. It's a kart racer. So it's on a single track with a background map. You're not interacting with the background. You're interacting only with the track. You look at a game like Breath of the Wild, where it's a open world, theoretically, like we have only seen the first, 20 minutes of it, but it's a open world game where you can go anywhere and interact with everything, and there's going to be multiple mobs, multiple enemies on screen. You're going to be able to chop down trees, change the environment. Like, that is not a kart racer. You know what I mean?
Well, and also in all fairness, racing games are usually carted out, no pun intended, as as launch games to show off the graphical fidelity and capabilities of the new consoles, because a racing game doesn't require a whole lot of assets.
Yeah.
None of the stuff needs to be interactable beyond the part that you can actually drive on. And if it's not an open world game like Forza Horizon and you're bound to the track, they really don't have a whole lot of wiggle room where you can even do anything. So they can bump up the texture quality, they can bump up the resolution as far as they can. They can, they can have all sorts of crazy lighting, smoke effects, and things like that without being as taxing as, say, an open world game, if we want to take a dramatic example, or even, a more linear but still exploratory, like first-person shooter experience,
or action
like that.
game,
So,
for sure.
So now, even though Mario Kart has a lot of systems interacting, like let's say you've got somebody having a starburst halfway down the track, and somebody having a blue shell throwing out, and somebody having a bunch of shells around them, and banana peels all over the track that the game has to remember, and things like that. You got more things going on there than you do with like a Gran Turismo, but still, it's still less taxing than something like Breath of the Wild.
It's still way less taxing than a game like Gran Turismo, though. Like, you look at one car in Gran Turismo probably has as much going on processing-wise as every single cart in a Mario Kart game, right? And then, like, the track, it's just, like, the detail and what they actually do with processing in those games. Like, you're absolutely right. Racing games are way less taxing because they can really nail down what the player's going to be interacting with. But still, like, a Mario Kart game, like, Nintendo makes easy to look at games that aren't very taxing, which will absolutely lend themselves to NX if this is right. But the fact that they're still doing that in our console market right now, where PCs are cheaper than ever because of NVIDIA's cards and AMD's new cards running at 4K resolutions on a $400 card, like, it's not going to work, in my opinion. It's old. It's going to look bad. It's going to make consumers feel bad. Like, I just don't see how they're going to make this a sellable item. What were you saying, Chris? Sorry.
No, I was just going to say, I think at the end of the day, this thing, if this is true, if this is what the specs are going to be, this is just proving further that Nintendo is not trying to be the company that, they're going to blow you out of the water with whatever, I can run The Witcher 3 at, 60 frames a second. That's not what this company is at this point. And
yeah, I mean,
I think the PC nerd in me, and you especially, Marty, we just need to calm that down and just accept that. Because that's not what they're on. Like, they know what they do well, and they need to emphasize on that.
We're even getting games like Pokemon, right? Like, Brian, you were saying earlier that Nintendo doesn't put out games with issues, really. But games like Nintendo X and Y, okay, had frame rate issues on the 3DS. And not only on the 3DS...
Pokemon X and Y, you mean?
Yes. What did I say? Nintendo
you said
X and Y?
Nintendo X and Y, yeah.
More or less the same thing, right?
It's fine, yeah.
But yeah, Pokemon X and Y running on the new 3DS had frame rate issues and lag issues. Lag being a loosely used term, right? Like, they just had stuttering issues. And it's like on the new 3DS.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes.
Just to be clear, Pokemon is associated with Nintendo, but technically not a Nintendo.
They own 30% of the
large
company,
amount. Yeah, they own a large amount of Pokemon Company. But it is technically it's a second party game, right?
Yes.
But it's still literally their flagship on handhelds.
Mm-hmm.
Like that is the
3DS
second
game.
Party. Yeah,
it is the game.
So when Pokemon with a 33% share in a company allows a game like that to come out with issues, like, it just makes me wonder, are they going to put out Breath of the Wild on the NX with lag and stutter, and is it going to have connectivity issues? Are they even going to try for the cloud, or are they going to even bother with processing in the docking station to make it two different modes? Who knows?
Okay, well, let's talk about this. If they're talking about the cloud, you're not going to be able to use that when it's importable unless you have Wi-Fi, and you can't restrict people to using it unless they have Wi-Fi, or else that betrays literally the entire.
There's no way that there's literally no way that this thing has a cloud infrastructure. Coming from a freaking data center admin, I can tell you straight up, Like, this is not
There's
happening.
no way.
You gotta eat your hat if it does.
Yeah, most
Live on camera.
You're gonna be like the director of Resident Evil 4. If this appears on any other consoles,
yeah.
I will chop my head off.
Look at where we are now. Yeah, it's that.
Yeah.
That idea needs to go away. That is not happening. I'm telling you that right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
And I'm telling you that as not a data center admin, but as a person that knows Nintendo and knows their capabilities.
Well, that's
They
yeah.
didn't make a Sony move and buy Gaikai, and do something like that. They are just the same old Nintendo that's made it really hard to even add friends. Like,
They've gotten better.
in a world.
They've implemented some kind of Active Directory structure because,
Yeah, but
somehow
guess what?
eShop knows what I
Still-
bought on 3DS and Wii U now. That's cool.
Still not even close to as good
3
as
years
Sony,
No,
which is
I'm
not,
not saying that.
is not nearly as good as
Microsoft.
Xbox in turn.
or
So-
not even close to Steam. So,
Yeah.
it's-
Thankfully, this was not the only piece of news that has occurred.
Yeah, yeah. Although let me just say, let's just quickly sum up, because after all that discussion, I feel like we're coming out in the negative, which is not why I put this on the list, because I actually feel quite positively about it.
I'm gonna buy it day one.
So where are you? Oh God, Chris, come on.
I will.
Not what I was fishing for. Don't be a fool. Wait until there's a lineup of games.
No.
So where do you guys come down on this? If these, let's just say, if these rumors end up being true, do you think this is a good thing or do you think this is a bad thing? Chris.
Okay, so, I think if these are true, I think they better have like the largest arsenal imaginable of first-party games at their disposal for the next 2 years. Like, it better be a game a month, at least a game a month, coming directly from Nintendo, or like a second-party, third-party, some kind of exclusive content that is meant for this system. Because so help me God, if they try doing the same thing that they did with Wii U, where it's like, it runs Mass Effect 3. Oh, but your saves don't go over. It runs Arkham, what was it?
Arkham
City.
Arkham City?
Arkham City. Like, that's great.
Armored Edition.
Armored Edition. Great. But, like, that's
yeah.
not where I'm going to play that game. It's not. Like, you were going to lose that fight. Like,
Also
it's not gonna
that
work.
game came out years ago.
Yeah, it came out like 3 years after the fact. So,
Hey, check it out. You can now play Arkham Knight Armored Edition at 720p
Yeah.
and 30 frames a second. That drops down to 25.
yep. So, that's where I'm going to get it day one. I always do. Nintendo fanboy. Whatever. It's fine. I love Nintendo. I love them.
You realize you don't have to do that.
No,
Nobody's
I'm going.
putting a gun
No,
to your head saying
I
you
have
have
to,
to
do
buy
that.
it day one.
I have to do that for me. I have to know. I have to know.
But
Jess
there's
is used to
not-
it. It's fine.
What?
It's fine.
You're gonna take
I-
a
okay,
$400
the virtual boy
15-year
in the corner over there. You know,
You have a Virtual Boy?
I have a virtual boy.
Okay, then I'm just gonna have
I'm
to
a
write
lost
you off.
cause,
There's
it's
no
fine.
convincing you.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's fine.
There's a difference between being a fanboy and being a deluded acolyte, like some sort of a
sheep.
dark acolyte.
I'm also getting PlayStation VR on day one. So
That makes sense.
Well, okay.
PlayStation
I'm
4
not gonna say
or VR
I'm
is
not
all I
gonna
know.
say that makes sense because I haven't tried VR yet. I'm not convinced.
it's dope.
it is dope. That's all you gotta do. You gotta try it once, and you'll be like, "I'm getting it too."
Yep.
I think
I mean, I
PlayStation
wouldn't-
VR
I
is gonna
wouldn't-
be the weakest, but the cheapest, so it makes sense.
Yep.
Yeah, I was gonna say if I was gonna get VR, I just built this freaking rig with a 1070 in it. I would not be getting PSVR.
I'd love
No.
to get Oculus, but no.
$800 right now for Vive. It's worth it in my opinion. Maybe a year from now.
Yeah, you never buy it at launch.
No.
Wait till there's a price drop. Wait till they come out with version 2 or whatever. Never buy the first one.
The problem
Apple-
with that is
Apple taught me that.
supporting it though is my biggest thing. Like I want to support VR, I want to support Vive, I want to support their efforts, and I do feel kind of guilty because I have tried it and I know it's amazing, but I'm just somebody that there's no killer app. There's not an experience for me that's really mind-blowing. I don't have any of my friends that have VR, so I really wouldn't have a multiplayer scene at all. I think that'll probably be the thing that does it for me, is the first person that's like, bought a Vive, you buy one, let's go, then maybe. But right now, I'm just waiting. But back to
None
NX.
of us are investors. None of
Yeah.
us are investors. You don't have to put seed money into this venture. You're not seeing any returns. You don't have to buy day one.
The return that I want to see is
That it's
the
supported.
Rift 2.
Yeah.
And
Which
if
is-
they're not getting people to buy them, they're not going to make it too, you know? Like, I love supporting. I understand Chris's want to support that, but my thing with Chris's is support of the NX is I think that's a bad product. I don't think that the Vive is a bad product.
We don't even know yet. We'll
I'm
have to see. We'll have to see.
like Brian said, completely based on the rumors. I think that this idea could be mind blowing. I think it could be awesome if they're
Yes.
going to double down on buying or co-investing or whatever into an amazing chip, getting some sort of amazing discrete GPU, actually having the RAM on board to allow you to make a 1080 minimum screen look beautiful and run Breath of the Wild and games of that quality. Like you said, we're not going to buy the new Call of Duty on a Nintendo console. We're just not.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
like, I want to see Metroid look beautiful and run amazing. I want to see Breath of the Wild be mind-blowing. I want to see these games really stand out and shine, even if they're stylized, and you can't do that with 3-4-year-old hardware. You just can't.
Thankfully for you, Marty, you can always download Dolphin.
I can't. You're right.
Dolphin is
Well,
an
yeah.
emulator that runs Wii and GameCube games, in case you didn't know.
For PC, and they look amazing.
Yeah.
I've got it on my
No,
my desktop.
Mario
No, you
Galaxy
don't.
2 at 4K.
Stunning.
Oh my god.
All right,
oh my
Brian,
God.
what are your thoughts? What are your final thoughts on this here NX adventure?
My thoughts are, if this ends up being what it is, and I'm operating on a couple of understandings that result and kind of come together in a swirling amalgamation of potentially positive thoughts.
Oh yeah,
So
potentially.
first, yeah, potentially. So first, Nintendo has always treated their handhelds really well.
Very true.
Um,
Except the no light in the advanced was terrible.
but then they came out with the SP, and it was dope,
I
and
couldn't
it was
see
so
anything.
good,
I couldn't see anything,
was-
Brian.
and it was so good. But they fixed it.
They did.
They're like, this,
And
is
then
a
they
problem,
charged you for the next one.
which is 100% fine because it was good enough.
Hey,
They gave you a clamshell and a backlight in
Did you-
one iteration.
Did you have the cool little light that bend around on the advanced?
Oh, I had the worm light.
Oh yeah.
Oh, sure.
that was
Oh, yeah.
life. I used that thing
I had-
for like everything.
Oh yeah.
I'd like grab my
yeah.
Game Boy and like read, look behind a cabinet, like that was my
yeah.
flashlight that my phone became.
The first purchase that I ever made with my own money was a Game Boy.
Nice.
I saved up. We went to Chris, I was just saying, the first thing that I ever did with my own money, the first thing was I saved up and I bought a Game Boy. The original Game Boy. Came with Tetris. I bought Super Mario Land.
God, you're old.
Jesus.
You're ancient. For everyone that
Hey, guess
hasn't
what?
listened to anything else, Brian is 433.
Yes.
He fought in every American conflict. And
As well
he
as the
then
Clone
bought a
Wars.
Game Boy. Also the
Beat
Clone
Count
Wars, yes.
Dooku.
And
Oh yeah.
now owns
You may have heard of me.
a Nintendo Wii U.
I am the chosen one.
Heard of me, you may have.
Yeah. Oh no. Oh no.
Enough of
Yeah,
Star Wars. Don't butcher it anymore.
So yes, I've been around since the foundations of the earth were laid. All right, not a big deal.
He's seen some
Nintendo
stuff.
has always taken care of their handhelds. Game Boy, Color, Advance, DS. Like all of them are awesome. They've all had awesome.
I did
games.
not take that into consideration until you brought that up. So thank you for that, because you're
so-
exactly right.
Yeah, so they've always taken good care of their handhelds. This is, if the rumors are true, this is the next iteration of their handhelds. They're upping their game. They're making it so that you can use it on the go and at home. It's like a realization of what the Wii U could have been. So I hope that they realize it. I'm operating under that understanding. I'm also operating under the under the assumption that. Well, under the understanding they've stated, Breath of the Wild will be on it. I've seen Breath of the Wild. It looks great to me. Maybe that's just because I favor stylized things over
It looks
realistic
good,
things.
in my opinion, too. It does.
It
look
looks good. It looks like it runs well. It looks like you can do a lot of really cool stuff in it. I'm excited to explore it. Even if it isn't the greatest game, even if it was a 16-bit game, I'm interested in it. I want to get in there. But as it stands, the game is huge. It's a huge open world game that's all about exploration, taking things in whatever order you want, going whichever direction you want. And for a system to be able to handle that, it requires a certain amount of power. So I'm operating under the assumption that it will run in a similar fashion to what we've seen on Wii U on the NX. If that is true, and if this is a handheld that gets the same treatment as the Nintendo handhelds in the past, which I don't think have ever really had dips, other than the fact that I think that the 3D on the 3DS was unnecessary. They could have just done like a DS2 or something like that, because the DS had everything that you needed. But I appreciate, the addition of the analog stick. Like, you can add little things like that. It doesn't need 3D. 3D was a fad thing, just like the tablet on the Wii U is a fad. Like, when Nintendo embraces these fads, I think that's when they're at their weakest. But their handheld game has always been strong. Their handheld games have always been strong.
The ability that you can turn off the 3D, I think, was amazing, right?
Yes.
Like, it was more of like a, here's this additional feature.
Yeah. And the fact that it can play all of the previous, all of the DS games as well, means you can't count it against it. If the DS was the greatest handheld ever created, then that now goes to the 3DS, because you can play literally all of those games plus all the 3DS games.
Yeah.
So there's that. I can't fault them for that. So if we take into consideration, Nintendo's always treated their handhelds well. The Breath of the Wild will be on it. It looks good, runs well, and I'm assuming it will run well on the NX. That means that it will have to have a certain amount of power. If it has that amount of power for that, we'll assume that other people can take advantage of it. Regardless of the architecture or what have you, there are going to be people that get in on it. And since we're all inclined to probably buy our third-party games elsewhere, how third-party developers support the NX really is irrelevant. It's going to be an exclusive machine for us.
Yeah.
They're going to get, you're going to get some hop-ons. You're going to have people that are Android developers, if this is true, that are going to hop on, try to port some stuff over from phones. I've seen that work successfully in the past. Hitman Go was on Vita. That was a mobile game, and it was awesome. It's one of my favorite games on Vita. So you can do it properly. With all those things being kind of together, and seemingly, seemingly Nintendo collapsing their home console thing, which has been kind of suffering, and they're not really doing super well, into their, one console that they can focus on. Assuming that all the games that would have gone to two consoles are now going to all be available on this.
Live at one home.
Man, just the possibilities.
It's exciting.
They said the same thing about the Revolution. No, I just wanted to throw that out there. I agree with you. I totally agree with you.
And that's fine. And you made a really good comparison to the Vita that makes perfect sense. It is the Vita was originally announced with the intent of bringing console quality gaming to a handheld, which, regardless of how well people have ever implemented that, I think is still the most noble goal. Like, if you could play Bloodborne on a handheld, why would you not want to? If you could play Dark Souls at the bus stop, why would you not want to?
Because I want to sit on my couch and look at my big-ass TV and chill and just unwind and play those games.
All of those
But
things.
it doesn't have to be one or the other. You can have them both. If they succeed, you will have both.
Yeah.
You will be able to do all of that gaming, all of your favorite games. You won't be like, man, I can't wait to get home so that I can play Overwatch. You'll be able to play it right in your dadgum lap,
I just
wherever
don't
you
care,
are.
I guess, is my biggest thing. Like, that's not that appealing to me because, like, I do life things outside. And, like, I don't carry around a handheld. I like them for trips. I like them for flights. I like them for extended car rides. But for me, I don't pull out, like, I listen to audiobooks, I listen to podcasts, I read. I don't even read when I'm out and about, though, because, like, I want to do my thing. I want to be in the world. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I
guess
don't
so.
have that draw.
I've
But
always
maybe.
traveled so much, and I've always moved around, and I've done a lot of commuting. My parents used to drive from Independence, Kansas to Huntington Beach, California, and back, twice a year. So I needed stuff, on there. We lived in Asia, in the Middle East, and, we would have these 14-hour plane rides, So I grew up on handheld gaming. I would even sit on my couch, like, after Shovel Knight came out, like, I just sat on my couch and somebody else was watching TV and I was just playing Vita.
Yeah.
I mean, I originally bought it on the 3DS, because it came out there first, but, I think that if you do a handheld really, really right, it can be a magical thing. And I really hope that Nintendo isn't just making another sophomoric endeavor into, a place where they really are not the masters anymore. I don't want to see them fail. I want to see them do really well. And I think that this move could potentially be playing to all of their strengths. And I hope that they capitalize on that. I want them to capitalize on that. Things like this just see me do an emotional 180 from where I was at with, the NES Mini.
Yeah.
So, that's not anything that we've, the NES is something we've seen before. This is not something we've seen before, which is collapsing, the console space and the mobile, in the handheld space. I hope they do it well.
Jumping on your point about them failing, right? Like, you want them to succeed. You want everything to go well, right? But for me, I also want them to go well. I wish the best. But at the same time, I kind of want them to fail miserably and just realize, hey, maybe we should get out of this space and start publishing games on the other platforms that are doing well. And you see things like Pokemon Go, like we've said, it's not directly with Nintendo, like they're third removed. But the fact that they could throw a Mario game on Xbox and PlayStation and sell better than any Mario game has ever sold ever, times 2. Like, it's just, I think, a problem that they stick around in the console market where they're honestly kind of not welcome, especially with third-party space. And I just think they're going nowhere. Like, I want them to succeed. I want it to be amazing. But I just have a beautiful vision of Zelda, Breath of the whatever 2 coming to Xbox and having it be this beautiful, real, open-world, fantastic Skyrim-like game, not what it is now. But
Legend of Zelda Breath of Whatever 2 confirmed
Exactly.
releasing Xbox Project Scorpio 2018.
They name randomly. Okay, I don't know.
I
Chris,
totally,
you look like you were saying
totally agree with you. In that,
Yeah.
I think it would be awesome for them to just finally buckle down, and say
Crash
forget
and burn.
it. Yeah, forget it. We're just gonna publish games and just go that route.
And
The thing.
let me say,
Go ahead.
go.
Okay.
Go.
The thing that concerns me is that right now they have to make compelling games on their hardware because it's the only way people are going to buy it. Like we said before, third-party games, they're not going to be sold on it. I fear that if they started to move towards, these other consoles and PC, they're going to go the route of Sega. And there's not going to be this
trash.
Yeah,
games.
there's not going to be this like fire under their butt to like actually be like, we have to sell these games. And then instead
we have to move consoles
like almost
by
that,
selling games.
yeah. And that they would almost like become like lazy. And Nintendo has never been known to be that way. It's just like
It's a fear.
It's a fear. Like Sega wasn't that way, and then Dreamcast crashed and burned, and that was it.
But if you're gonna tell me that Sega was ever even
I'm
half
not
as good,
No, I'm not at all.
as Nintendo,
No, Sega's trash.
No, and let me say this. To tag on back of what you were saying. If I had to choose between the NX being super successful and being like a tablet where their stuff would go for the foreseeable future, the console space, the handheld space, or they stop making hardware and just put the games on everything, Guess which one I'm gonna pick?
I'm
I'm
assuming
gonna pick number 2.
Yeah.
I'm picking door number 2.
Yeah.
right.
If I can pull out my Vita and play Pokemon,
Yeah.
oh god.
Well,
It's
first
over.
of all, Vita's dead.
It's over.
But you pull out your phone and play Pokemon. You boot up your
The
PlayStation.
Vita is not dead. The Vita is life.
Vita's dead.
All right.
So
Vita literally means life.
it does. You're right. Your argument is
is
totally
life.
valid. The Vita's dead though. But I mean, like you pull out your phone, play Pokemon. That would be an
All right,
unreal
all
experience.
right. The Vita 2.
There you go.
The
There you
Vita
go.
2.
I'm in.
There you go.
You know, you boot up
you know
your
what?
PlayStation. You play any Zelda game.
Let's just get rid of this whole thing. Let's PSP 2. There
All
we
right,
go.
All right. I like it.
PSP 2. The Sony PlayStation Portable 2. Now playing all PlayStation 4, PlayStation Vita, PSP, PS3,
Playing
PS2,
everything.
PS1,
And all Nintendo
and
games. obviously.
Nintendo games.
Can we just like do the Xbox thing and call it like the,
And
the
it's-
PlayStation
and it's
Portable
also-
3 or the
And
7?
it's also cross play with PC and Xbox One. You know, Rocket League started it, and now everything's cross play with
Yeah.
everybody else. The revolution is at hand. Everybody can play all the games everywhere. Oh yeah.
I'm in. Well, I think that about wraps it up. What do you guys think?
Oh man.
I'm gonna go
Well,
cry
that was
for a few hours.
exhausting. That was exhausting. I'm gonna go.
Just put
I'm
on
gonna go
my-
curl up into a ball.
Put on my Virtual Boy and weep.
Go chill in your Zelda pajamas?
Yep.
Now, are you going to be weeping because you're sad, or are you going to be weeping because the Virtual Boy is doing things to your eyes that just make your eyes water?
I mean, at first it will be sadness, and then it'll be just the fact that I'm now blind.
Yeah, your retina's burning?
Yeah.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. I believe the Virtual Boy was put out as like an alpha, like a friends and family alpha.
Oh, that I
for
don't know.
What is now passing on as LASIK.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It was early access LASIK.
I have to
if
use
I'm
it
not
once a
mistaken.
month, and then my glasses actually do things.
They feel good.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Now you don't need to wear glasses anymore because your Virtual Boy has
Seared your
cured all
retinas
your
off.
ills.
Oh, boy.
Oh, well, man. This has been the episode 4 of the Platformers. Thank you for joining us. You can reach each of us on Twitter. My Twitter handle is @Ribnax, RIBNAX.
My Twitter is Shrives93, SHRIVES 93.
And I am at Podcast Martin. Spelled like it sounds.
Spelled like it sounds. All right, guys. Well, join us next week when we'll undoubtedly be talking about new rumors that the NX is actually a spaceship. And it will deliver us all to, planets unknown.
Amen.
Go ahead and tweet at us. Let us know what you think. Let us know if you want us to cover any particular things. We're always here, and we want to make a great show for you. So this has been, again, episode 4 of The Platformers, and we are out.